Hi, my name is Jim Brown. I'm the attorney at James Brown Law and founder of Title Leap. And today on Title Talk, we're going to talk about open permits, unpermitted work, and how realtors handle these situations for closing. So the issue is open permits. How should title companies handle these, and what do they mean to buyers, sellers, and realtors, and are they title issues? When analyzing an open permit and unpermitted work issues, you always want to start with the contract. Whenever you have an issue in a transaction, you always start with the contract. That's where you go first. Statutes are where you go second, case law third, rules and regulations fourth, but we just want to start with the contract. So here we're looking at the 2017 FAR bar. In paragraph 10B, line 195, if the seller has knowledge of open permits and unpermitted work, the contract requires that the seller disclose that to buyer in writing. When agents are on listing appointments, it's a great opportunity to ask your seller, hey, do you have any work that you did that may not have been permitted? You know, any work that prior owners did that may not have been permitted, open permits, water heaters, all that stuff. Inspectors are getting savvy. Again, little things like water heaters can quickly turn into something that buyers are looking for closing cost credits over. You might want to mention the FAR bar provision to your sellers if you see things like new windows and improvements, and remind your sellers that the contract requires that they make these disclosures. The second place that the open permit issue can be discussed is during the inspection period, section 12A, line 248. All those open permit issues are best negotiated, contemplated, and negotiated during the inspection period. That gives buyers and sellers the opportunity to negotiate freely, and if buyers aren't satisfied, they can simply get out. The third place permits are contemplated in the contract is in paragraph 12C, line 268. Here, buyers, not sellers, as you might expect, are required to close open permits and unpermitted work. And they're not actually required, but the burden of closing unpermitted work, of closing open permits, things like that, they're all placed on the buyer. When we represent buyers, we always include in paragraph 20 a provision that says sellers shall close all open expired permits, permit all unpermitted improvements, and resolve and close all municipal, county, homeowners association and or condominium association violations prior to closing. If you're representing sellers, in the back of your mind, just know this is a great position, the standard form contract for sellers, because the buyer has to pay for everything and take the steps. And if they don't close it, and the issue comes up post-closing, then it is the buyer's responsibility to deal with it, and sellers under the standard form contract have no obligations. Just like the standard FAR bar, the standard form seller's disclosure in Florida also has a provision that says that the seller is required to disclose in writing open permits and unpermitted work that they have knowledge of. And if you guys think about it, it sounds a lot like the Johnson v. Davis rule that we've talked about so many times, and I'll mention it again. Sellers are required to disclose to buyers items that are not readily observable, materially affect the value, and that the seller has knowledge of. So if you can't see it in an inspection, it materially affects the value, and the seller has knowledge, sellers are required to disclose these issues to buyers, and permits fall into that category. I have some parting thoughts. Open permits are not typically title issues or marketable title issues. They are typically contract issues. However, an open permit or unpermitted work can become a title issue if four things happen. First, a municipal code officer, inspector, puts a violation on the property. Second, a violation hearing is held by a judge or special magistrate. 3, an order imposing a lien is entered in the hearing, and 4, a lien is recorded, which typically has a running fine. So that would take the open permit out of a contract issue and turn it into a title issue requiring seller to resolve it. Doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. These liens can become huge in money, and James Brown law does handle open permits, permit violations, code violations that turn into liens, all those things. Open permits and municipal violations appear in your municipal lien search report. So if you have a municipal lien search report, all good title companies obtain one of these. You can get a copy of it. Title Leap makes that municipal lien search report available in the app as soon as it's received by the title agent. That will show you open permits. It won't necessarily show you unpermitted work, but it will show you violations, and some of those violations may be for permit issues. Closing open permits and unpermitted work, simple process. You want to start by fixing the underlying issue, bringing whatever it is up to code, or finishing whatever it was, the permit that never got closed, finishing that work, calling your inspector, having him come out, do the re-inspection, hopefully you pass and close the permit out. If it's unpermitted work, you'll need a general contractor, you'll need an engineer, you'll need a roofing GC, you'll need whoever it is, whatever tradesperson it is that's needed to sign off on the work and tell you it's up to code. And if you need to call me to discuss more, I'm very happy to discuss those things with you. I can't stress enough how important making a relationship is with your inspectors and your code compliance office, the construction division, all those people. They work for us, they need to be respected, but they do work for us. But making that relationship and forging that relationship can be invaluable when you have these things to iron out. Time frames are short, you need inspectors out there quickly. That's it for this episode of Title Talk. I hope you got something out of it. I love providing the content, and I can't wait to see you next time. Hit like and subscribe, and see you next week.